Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to the live stream here on the channel. Hopefully everybody's having a great day so far. A little bit early here, just 5 minutes early. Glad to see everyone in the chat. We have Proxy, Catman, Caleb, Ben, David, Haley, Legacy, Edits, Random Guy. Glad to see you guys all in here. Caden as well, and Indiana, as well as anyone else who I may have missed. Everyone else who is watching may not be chatting. Glad to have you here again for another live stream. Let's go ahead and switch over to our main scene here. This is the scene we haven't used in a little while because we haven't really done much severe weather coverage in the last like 2-3 months. I'd say 2 months, 2 to 3 months. Yeah, we really haven't done much. You know, we've had these occasional one-day enhanced risks, and then the next day it's barely anything. So for the next 3 days, get used to this live stream or this scene on the live streams, as we're going to have 3 days of severe weather coverage here on the channel, thanks to that trough we were talking about a little while back. So right now, across the United States, we don't really have a lot going on across the continental U.S. The main feature today is definitely the potential for a couple of tornadoes out here in southeastern, east central New Mexico. And then as that trough progresses, that will move into, guess what, New Mexico and maybe some of Texas and Oklahoma tomorrow. And then as we move into day 3, which is going to be Monday, this is going to move into Kansas and Oklahoma for the potential of severe weather. So 3 live streams are planned for all 3 days, and we're going to be keeping a very close eye on that severe weather threat, of course. So right now we have 3 severe storms. Holy cow. That's already getting pretty interesting there. It looked a lot crazier a scan ago. That kind of caught me off guard. A little miniature supercell that probably won't have much longer of an opportunity there. It's not tour possible, so that's good. Let's go through what all of these are warned for, because I myself don't actually know. This one's warned for 1-inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds for the next 31 minutes. We also have one for 1.5-inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds. Another one is actually, this one's tour possible out here. I don't really know my bearings in New Mexico, but this is about, let's see, I'll give you an estimate, about 30 to 35 miles southwest of Fort Sumter, New Mexico. And the one to the south of that is also tour possible, as well as 1-inch hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. So really going to keep an eye on this storm here. Personally, I think this is going to have the best opportunity to produce a tornado over the next 2 hours. This one will have the best opportunity over the next hour or so. This might have a chance. I don't know if that one's too far north, and this one's way too clustery. So I don't think this will be a much, if any, of a tornado threat. These two are going to end up being a tornado threat. This one might end up being a tornado threat up here. And we should see some more storms. I don't think these are our main storms that will fire down here, but we should see one or two supercells fire up in this area in the next 2 hours or so. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. We've had some Tor possible severes every now and then. I mean, let's see. Okay, sorry, I had to check something. Lucky decided to text me right as I started the live stream. I've been trying to text him for the last hour and a half, and he finally texted me back. But anyways, yeah, this is going to be what we're watching for the next some hours. Mainly going to be focusing in on New Mexico. Before things get too chaotic out here, I do want to bring you guys on over to the tropics because as some of you guys may know, I did a community post on it earlier this morning. We do actually have, I don't know if this is still a tropical storm or not. We're going to check that. Yeah, so that's still Tropical Storm Nadine. It's remnants. It made landfall about 12:05 p.m. Eastern out here in the far southeastern peninsula of the Yucatan Peninsula here. So it really wasn't the Yucatan Peninsula. It was really just far southeastern Yucatan out there. Made landfall, I believe, with sustained wind speeds of 60 miles per hour. And I think the millibar was somewhere around like somewhere around 1,003. I don't remember the exact millibar it made landfall at. It's at 1,004 millibar now, so it was probably like 1,001, 1,002 millibar at landfall. I'm just guessing. I really didn't look at the millibar this morning. And of course, we do have what is this one called? Oscar. Yeah, Oscar out here. This did surprise quite a few people. You know, we've been talking about this wave for probably a week or so. The only thing that really surprised me was actually waking up and seeing that this was becoming a tropical storm in like the morning hours, and then it was a hurricane very quickly. So the rapid intensification phase that went through last night into this morning is what caught me off guard, but not too surprised we saw a tropical storm out of this wave, but we did manage to squeeze out a hurricane, actually. Like I said, it is a Category 1 hurricane, so that has indeed caught me off guard. We do have hurricane warnings out for the Turks and Caicos, southeastern Bahamas. Hurricane watches, tropical storm warnings are up for portions of far southeastern Cuba. And I do think this could make a run for Category 2 status here. Just before turning northward. If it does make a run for Cat 2, it's going to most likely be tomorrow afternoon. So sometime between like tomorrow at 2 p.m. to tomorrow at 8 p.m., I think this will have a chance of becoming a Category 2 hurricane. We'll see if it can succeed at that or not, but it doesn't look half bad at the moment. I mean, this is definitely a quite organized hurricane here. There's your big cone of uncertainty. You can see that sharp northward turn that we talked about for so long, literally about a week ago. It is indeed going to take that sharp northward turn. Models turned back. All of our models, so when our hurricane models really first started rendering, they were really aiming towards that northward turn happening. Then a couple days later, all of our hurricane models started pointing towards this going into the Eastern Caribbean. And now almost all of our hurricane models point towards this taking a sharp northeastward turn. So they've been flip-flopping. The remnants of Nadine out here, currently located just south of Yucatan, is most likely going to try and make a run for a hurricane if it can get in the Eastern Pacific. Of course, it will be a different name. That's something very important to note. You know, it's going to be crossing an entire basin. It's going to go from the Atlantic Basin into the Pacific here, and that's going to allow for it to get a different name once it does form at some point out here in the EPAC. If it does cross successfully into the Eastern Pacific, I do personally believe it could make a run for maybe even a major hurricane status out here in the EPAC. Good news is, if it does do that, it'd be out in the middle of the ocean, not affecting anybody. But that's really going to come down to if the remnants of Nadine can fully get into the Eastern Pacific, or if it's going to kind of do like a handoff or some sort. I haven't looked at the models too much. But yeah, just wanted to let y'all know about that. Both of those tropics, or rather, both of those systems are going to be staying away from the United States. The only area that might see tropical storm wind gust is the Bahamas. But if from the mainland 48, the 48 states, I don't think we're going to be seeing a tropical storm anytime soon. These storms definitely do not look half bad. This is now actually, look at that. Both of these are now considerable severes. Tor possible for 1.75 inch hail, 70-mile-an-hour winds. This one is also still Tor possible. Hail size still 2-inch in diameter now, and damaging winds upwards of 70 miles per hour. So that right there verifies the title. Only 10 minutes into the live stream, we've already verified the title of 2-inch hail, 70-mile-an-hour winds possible. So yeah, there's those yellow highlighted polygons, meaning that they got upgraded to a level, 2 out of 3 severe storm. We have 3 levels to severes. We have a normal severe, considerable severe, and a destructive severe. This is a considerable level 2 out of 3. And do we have, I wonder if we still have, let me look at our categorical risk for today. Okay, we don't. I thought we had that thunderstorm risk going more west into central Arizona, but we don't. It is close to central Arizona, north central Arizona, Page in Arizona. But yeah, main threat for severe weather is really going to be focused out here in New Mexico, specifically in 2 very specific corridors. One corridor is going to be right in here. And then we could have, it's really going to depend on if a storm fires. And if it does fire, then we'll have another corridor back in like this area for severe weather. But at the moment, definitely more focused on the first corridor from like Roswell all the way up through to the west of Santa Rosa, back up towards that severe storm northeast of Fort Sumter. So that's where we're really looking at the main severe weather threat at the moment. A little surprised we don't have our severe watch actually, Ben. I don't know if you looked, but that mesoscale discussion expired. So if they don't issue that within like the next 13 minutes or so, they're probably going to have to reissue a mesoscale discussion to signify them issuing a severe watch soon. But this is definitely enough coverage to warrant a severe thunderstorm watch now. Beforehand, we had, if I go all the way back to like earlier today, we had thunderstorms that popped off, one severe popped off, and then we had another severe, and then now, right as we started the live stream, we started really getting active for these severe storms. Christy would be its name in the EPAC. Alrighty. So we're next name's a K out there in the EPAC. I don't see any strong areas of rotation at the moment. I am watching this little couplet right here, but I think it's contamination. If we play back like the last few frames, you'll notice that it just doesn't have a lot of data with it. So I don't think this is rotating that much at the moment, but we will have to keep an eye on it. See if they put, okay, they did update the polygon. You can see it right there, but it is not Tor possible. So the National Weather Service out here doesn't think this has an opportunity to produce a tornado anytime soon. But that could change. They update, typically these severe warnings update about every 15 minutes. It just depends on how fast or slow the storm's moving. If they issued a big polygon, I guess one of my USBs decided to disconnect. Let me reconnect that. Good thing it was the one right in front of me. But if they have like a big polygon with a storm that's moving, about 30 miles per hour, they may update that polygon like 3 times over the span of an hour or so. It just depends. Sometimes we have polygons that just don't get updated. They issue the polygon and then it expires. Like this one here, you can see they updated this one, I think once. Yeah. They updated this one earlier today, literally just one time, and then allowed it to expire. So it just depends. There's another one right there. They just issued it, didn't even update it, and allowed it to expire. So it simply just depends on the storm, the speed of the storm, and how big the warning is on how many updates they do. So yeah, right now this is our strongest storm northwest of Roswell. A big hail producer at the moment, up to 2-inch hail being a possibility out of this. I do want to go to our MRMS. Um, Interesting that they put the 2-inch hail tag on the southern one. The northern one really looks way better, and it's looked way better the whole time. So we might see this. This might be upgraded soon to 2-inch hail. It's currently warned for 1.75-inch hail. For what? This is like, is that Raymond? Raymond? Is that Raymond or Ramen? I don't know how to pronounce that in New Mexico. It's definitely not Raymond because there's no D in it. Here's a look at current satellite imagery, by the way. I don't know if you guys were able to see that. I don't think you were. But there is the true color satellite imagery. We'll do 48 frames. So you can see those storms really, really, really starting to explode over the last 30 minutes or so. They really got going, I'd say. Let's see. Right there. So 43. So that's 5:43 p.m. is when those overshooting tops started to go on both of these storms here. So that's when your storms really started to strengthen in terms of hail and damaging winds. The tornado potential should be relatively short-lived. I do think they would end up being photogenic tornadoes, Ben, if they do occur. If we do see tornadoes, they should be photogenic. But the tornado threat should be relatively short-lived. I really don't think we'll see more than about 2 hours worth of potential for tornadoes. From 6 p.m. Eastern to about 8 p.m. Eastern should be our peak here for tornado time. After that, these storms should grow more upscale into a line. And once they grow into a line, you'll have a brief period of damaging wind potential, and then they'll quickly disorganize into more of a line of rain. There's really going to only be one area that might depend if our tornado threat goes beyond 8 o'clock, and it would be down here. This area might have a tornado threat that lasts a little bit longer than 8 p.m. Eastern. But these storms, I mean, they're already trying to grow upscale into that line, but it's still going to take another hour and a half or so before these cells are successfully aligned here. Or a clustering mess. Let's see. Is this still... It's one for 1.5-inch hail up here in Newkirk. Yeah, there goes that area of... quote rotation. I say quote rotation because I don't think it was actually ever rotating. I believe that was corruption. Now it might be rotating a little bit higher up. It's not rotating completely towards the surface yet. I mean, we're looking 2,500 feet up, and I don't see much rotation, but we could have an upper level area rotation with this storm. I mentioned that because it looks like it's trying to form a hook. You can see this more supercell structure, a lot more of this supercell structure with it now. So this might just be rotating in the upper levels. We'll see if that upper level area of rotation goes towards the lower level or not. If I go up with height, so 2,000-ish feet up, very weak rotation. 4,000 feet up, you can see it gets a little stronger. 5,500 feet up, it still looks like a decent area of rotation. And then anything higher than that, we start to just lose our data. I personally don't like to go above like tilt 1.8 unless I'm looking for how high debris is lofted in a tornado. Which also to note, we could have some land spouts today. Land spouts can occur without an area of rotation. Let's see. So just be aware of that. Yesterday we had, let me go see. I think we had one land spout yesterday. Yeah, we had one land spout yesterday. So just be aware that we could see a land spout today as well. But we have a better chance of seeing tornadoes today than we did yesterday. Yesterday was a marginal risk. This one is a slight risk for severe weather, which is a level 2 out of 5. And tomorrow we have another slight risk for severe weather. I guess whilst we wait another scan for these, let's just go over our categorical risks. So here's today's risk for severe weather. We have that large slight risk. Main threat today is definitely the risk for a tornado or two, or actually a couple tornadoes, rather. Oh, interesting choice. But a couple tornadoes will be possible today. Damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour and hail up to 2-inch in diameter will be possible. Tomorrow, the slight risk is pretty close to the same area, just slightly more north. Same threat. I mean, we have the threat for a few tornadoes tomorrow as well. Some damaging winds. This currently is up to 60 miles per hour, and the hail threat is up to 2-inch hail. So wind threat for tomorrow seems to be a little bit lower. However, they may increase that. And then as we go into Monday, that marginal risk extends all the way over here to a good chunk of western central Kansas into western Oklahoma and the panhandle of Texas. I haven't read this discussion, so I don't know if it's for tornadoes or what. Hail and damaging wind gusts. That looks to be the main risk here. I don't see a mention of a tornado threat just yet on Monday, but that could change. Put you back to the day 1 outlook. So we're down to 2 severes now. I'm a little intrigued here on why they canceled that severe. This could still be producing some pretty large hail. You could see that hail core is quite evident there. I forgot the product because it's been so long. Is it this product here? No. This product here. No. I forgot what product. Oh, here you go. Yeah, this is the product. Radar has an estimation of how large of hail is falling. It currently estimates about 2.5-inch hail could be falling with this storm. At the most, the largest 2.5-inch hail. And currently not warned. It's currently not severe warned. I don't know if they did that on purpose or not. We'll see if they reissue that severe. This severe storm definitely fell apart, just like I was talking about. You can see that hail core that was there. This is what was there. You can see that hail core dissipates, and then it's pretty much gone. Still have some spotty areas that could be dropping small hail, but relatively just extremely heavy rain. I'm really curious to see if they put a new severe on that, because there's a really good chance we're still seeing near 2-inch hail with that storm. What was the expiration on this? The storm which prompted the warning has weakened below severe limits and therefore no longer poses an imminent threat to life or property. The warning has been canceled. However, small hail is still possible with this thunderstorm. So they do note hail is still possible. However, it must be less than 1 inch in diameter or we'd be seeing a new warning issued here. It does look like it is weakening, though. Is there a special weather statement? Okay, not yet. No special weather statement yet on that storm. This storm looks like it has the best opportunity to produce a tornado. It's just not rotating all that much just yet. Is that... Okay, yeah. Wow, it just weakened a lot on that one scan. You can see that well-defined hail core south of Newkirk just dissipated, but there you go. Thank you, thank you. I thought I was just losing my touch with severe weather coverage. I apologize, I apologize. Yeah, and look at they warned for 2-inch hail. I haven't lost my touch yet. I haven't lost it yet. I have not lost it. That was a really good call by the National Weather Service there. So yeah, this is now, once again, of course, capable of producing near, if not 2-inch hail right over, what is this, Highway 285, just to the northwest of Roswell. I appreciate you guys tuning in. We're going to be here for quite a while covering this threat for severe weather. So if you know about anyone out in New Mexico, specifically eastern New Mexico, make sure you share the stream with them. We'll be live tomorrow as well for the severe weather threat in generally the same area, just slightly more north. And we'll also be live Monday as well. Yeah, today is Saturday. I almost thought today was Sunday, looking at the new HRRR here. Tomorrow looks to have equally the same potential. Maybe a bit of a bigger hail threat tomorrow, though. Storm should pop off about the same time. About the same time as today. Storm should get going right about 6 p.m. Eastern. Maybe a little later. And then they'll last for quite a while. Let's see. I do have to say this. The ingredients tomorrow look very high in southern New Mexico, towards like Roswell, southeastern New Mexico. But at the moment, the HRRR doesn't want storms firing in that really, really favorable environment. The HRRR has more storms firing up here. So if we can see a storm tomorrow that fires in this area, we're going to have a solid tornado threat with it. Let's see. The Weed Whacker just said, wow. I wonder what he said wow for. Let's see. He's probably getting hit with hail or something. I use Streamlabs, Brady. Personally, I would rather use just OBS Studios, but I started out with Streamlabs. I've always been Streamlabs, so I don't really want to switch to it. Streamlabs is what I use for this channel here, and then I use OBS for our gaming channel. Memberships are gifted randomly. The only way you can guarantee a membership is if you buy it yourself. I think the cheapest one is $2. I've honestly forgotten. I need to get back to more members content. We're going into winter, so hopefully I can pick back up on that member content. But let's face it, I've done terrible with it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I've done horrific. Let's see. Yeah, these two storms, they're discrete, so they should have the greatest tornado potential. But at the moment, it just seems like they're seemingly very elevated. I have not looked at our temperature dew point spread. I don't think it's that bad. It depends on what the temperature is out here, but I think it's about a 13-14 temperature dew point spread, which is... That's definitely on the higher end. That's definitely a better opportunity for hail as opposed to tornadoes. You just gotta, this overlay, it's still not perfect. I literally just changed my overlay yesterday. I don't think you really would notice what I changed with it, but I literally changed it yesterday. So... it's taken 4 years to get this overlay to the point where it is, which is pretty pathetic considering it's not the best overlay. Just trial and error. Glad to see you in here, Nebraska Weather Center. Just tracking these storms out here in New Mexico. Feels like it's been forever since we've tracked severe weather like this. You know, we've tracked tornadoes because of our tropical systems, but an actual like proper severe weather threat, this feels like the first one in quite a while. And it's difficult to tell what the end of October will bring. Some models have the potential for a big severe weather threat, and other models literally barely even have anything at the end of October. So We'll keep an eye on it, of course. Keep a really close eye on it, but at the moment, it doesn't look like we'll see much severe weather at the end of October, which is not what I thought would happen. I really thought we were going to be in a very favorable environment and pattern for severe weather at the end of October. You're all good, edits. Thanks for just being here. It's much appreciated. Last time we saw a tornado warning, that was probably with maybe the remnants of Milton. Or not the remnants, but just Milton as a whole, I should say. Yeah, October 9th. October 9th was our last warning, exactly 10 days ago. Our last tornado warning was issued at 6:50 p.m., October 9th, 2024. So, technically not 10 days ago, technically 9 days ago, and 9 days, 23 hours, and, what? I can't do math. I think that would be 25 minutes. Here comes an MCD. The severe threat will likely be maximized over the next 2 to 3 hours across eastern New Mexico. A watch is not expected. A watch is not expected. Let's see. Well, we could actually see it much quicker here. Boom. So there you go. There's your new MCD. I'm waiting to get the discussion on it right now. There it is. Watch issuance is not expected given the relatively limited extent of the threat. Over the past hour, several supercells across east central New Mexico have become much more intense and well organized, as evident by robust hail signatures. I'm going to skim through all this. 1,000 to 1,500 K, 40 to 50 knot wind shear, and discrete to semi-discrete supercell should allow for a hail threat over the next 2 to 3 hours. A nocturnal jet stream may support some increase in a tornado potential, but this may be conditional on whether storms remain surface-based, or rather remain in the viable surface-based warm sector, which is currently limited in the northern extent of the stationary boundary north of I-40 corridor. Regardless, cells will likely pose a severe hail threat. I disagree with this part, possibly up to 1.75 inches in diameter. Personally, I think we're going to see potentially higher than that. I mean, we literally have a warning for 2-inch hail. And the wind threat through at least 8, 9 o'clock tonight, Eastern time. So, if you couldn't follow along with my reading, because I'm pretty trash at it, long story short, hail and damaging winds will continue to about 8 or 9 p.m. tonight Eastern time, and a tornado threat may increase around 8 p.m. If storms can stay on the northern side of the surface-based warm sector. Or did they say warm front? Hold on. Already forgot. The warm sector. Okay, I was correct. I thought I was wrong. Very interesting. Very interesting. They don't mention a threat further south either. So, seems like maybe their main threat for tornadoes might be focused on, like, let's figure out where the warm sector is. That's extremely easy to do. You just turn on meso overlay. Actually, mesofill. There we go. And there you go. There's your instability. So we know that your warm sector's northern extent is generally up in this area. So, yeah, we could possibly see a tornado on the northern extent here as we go to about 8 o'clock. We'll see what happens, though, because like I said, if we can get storms to fire further south, this is going to be the same case with tomorrow. If we can get storms to fire further south, that's going to be where our highest tornado threat will be. But if we don't see a storm fire around this area and really start going, like Echo Top's starting to go up towards the 30,000, 40,000 feet, we're probably not going to see much tornado activity today. It's going to be some big hail. They did extend this storm. It's now a possible severe thunderstorm warning for 1.25-inch hail and 70-mile-an-hour winds. So damaging winds, some isolated large hail, and a tornado will all be possible with this storm as it moves up to the northeast here. And there might actually be another area of rotation northwest of Newkirk. It looks like it's relatively on the smaller, more confined side of things. Doesn't look that well organized. I need to make a considerable severe scene. Because at the moment I have a normal severe, a destructive severe, and then I have all of our tornado warnings for scenes. So I need to make a considerable one. Let's see. In order for me to do that, though, I think I'm going to have to change the color of our considerable severes, because the considerable severes are highlighted yellow and black there. Now, I'm not surprised they dropped this warning north of Roswell. Right there. Brady, actually, I have some things that I used in the description. My overlay, I was given permission from, and you can also see the UTC clock I got. So I have 2 of those things in the description. The RGB overlay is what you see, you know, not now. My RGB overlay is on here. This one. This is my RGB overlay. This one is just simply yellow colors. It just took a lot of learning. That's literally what it was. I didn't get help from anybody. No one really helped me. Let's see. Already down a bottle of water. We should be joined by Lucky in about an hour, assuming he's gonna actually join. Whenever he says he's gonna join, normally he doesn't, so we'll see if he does this time. Let's see here. So, yeah, we're just watching this considerable severe for 2-inch hail, 70-mile-an-hour winds. And this one is for 1.25-inch hail, 70-mile-an-hour winds. And I believe both of these are tour possible. Actually, no, this one's not tour possible. Southwest of Fort Sumter anymore. So we're down to 1 tour possible severe. That's this one. Where was that area? Newkirk, yeah. Over Newkirk right now. It looks like that tornado threat seems to be going down at the moment. At least with this particular storm. These storms are already getting pretty clustered, so overall doesn't look like a tornado setup right now. Probably not a good tornado setup today or tomorrow, even though the NWS says it's possible. It all depends, Tyler, on if we see a semi-discrete storm at the right time. So, like I said, if we see a discrete storm fire up in this area at 7:30 or so, 7:30, 8 o'clock Eastern time, about an hour from now, that's where we're going to have a really good tornado potential. But we don't know if that's going to happen. Interesting. Very interesting. So, our hurricane models are coming in for Oscar. And, well, put it simply, the HAFSB wants it to become a major hurricane tonight. Like, legit, within the next 5 hours, the HAFSB wants this thing to be a Cat 3. And, by the way, that's Oscar I'm talking about. That's this currently mid-tier hurricane. Let me get the satellite for you. Right there. So, interesting run from the HAFSB there. It does have recon data, so that's why it's a lot more aggressive. Our 12Z, legit, I don't think our 12Z had, like, literally anything. Our 12Z had 1,003 millibar. I don't even know what that would be at 11 o'clock tonight. That's the strongest our 12Z model run had it. Which is a very crazy different. Very crazy difference there. Yeah, still a couple little areas of rotation. I don't really think they're going to do much, honestly. I mean, we have this tiny area here. We have a broad area up here. And then we also have our small 2 areas of rotation, both in this area here and this area here. None of them really look that good, to be honest with you. So, this currently has the best opportunity to produce a tornado. It's the only Tor possible severe. So we'll just want to keep a very close eye on this one, see if it manages to rotate enough or not. And that is going to be barely to the southeast of Newkirk, New Mexico. It's rendering in now, so we only have like 2 frames of it, of the HAFSB. We only have 2 frames. One for 8 p.m. and one for 11 p.m. Eastern. See if that increased at all. Velocity is not in just yet. I'm going to switch back to the analysis radar. We'll wait for that to come in. Probably not. I haven't checked if there's any cyclone ports around here. I don't think so. Yeah, that rotation is dying out. It looks a whole lot less impressive than it did, 3-4 scans ago. But it never really looked too well. The structure looked pretty good on this scan. Like, the overall structure on reflectivity looked pretty dang good on this scan. Then it fell apart. Then the rotation fell apart. And now it's just becoming a blob of a severe. This has tightened up a lot, but I feel like it's corruption. I feel like it might be corruption, maybe an interference with hail. So I'm not completely buying that area of rotation yet. But we might have a little bit of rotation with this storm just to the southwest, well to the southwest of Fort Sumner. It's not Tor possible yet. It is currently 1 for 2-inch hail, 70-mile-an-hour winds. Wow! Wow! A Category 5 peak. 929 millibar tonight. What the heck? If that happened, that would actually be one of the most rapid intensification phases we've seen this year. It'd probably be up there with Milton. I imagine Milton's going to take the cake this year. I'd be shocked if it beats Milton, but going from a 990 millibar at 2 p.m. to a sub 930 millibar by 5 a.m. That's 12 hours you drop. I can't even do that math. That's like 50 millibars in 12 hours. It definitely won't be Milton, because Milton got to like the 897. What? No. 897? Yeah, 897. That didn't sound right. It didn't sound right. Because we haven't seen a sub 900 storm in a long time. I don't think I've ever tracked a sub 900 millibar storm before on this channel. And I tracked it from a friend's room. With a barely alive laptop and a poor microphone. That's crazy, though. 50 millibar drop in 12 hours. If that actually happens, that That would be pure insanity. And you know what sucks? You know what's absolutely horrific about that? Turks and Caicos is right there. I mean, it would almost make a near direct hit. Another bad thing is we're not getting recon in this until 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. So if we do have one of the most rapid intensification phases that you could possibly see, I don't know what the most we've seen is, but 115 miles per hour. That seems to be like the highest I've seen. I've seen that in both the EPAC and the Atlantic. But if we do see something similar to that, we won't even have recon data. I want to see, what about the wind speeds? What does this go from? So it goes from about 60 knots all the way to 150 knots. Or about 150 knots. I think the 147. 147.3. Let's see. What would that be? Would that be... That is very much into Category 5 strength. That is 170 miles per hour. So that would legit be from tropical storm status to Cat 5 status in a little over, keyword is over, 12 hours. Because it was a tropical storm at, what, the 11 a.m. advisory? So 11 a.m. to 5 a.m. it goes from a tropical storm to Cat 5 on this model run. I don't think that will happen. But if it does, like I said, the main thing that sucks is we won't have recon. Recon has gathered some ridiculously historic data this year. They have gathered some kicking historic data. So hopefully maybe the NHC will somehow reconsider sending aircraft out overnight. Maybe. But, yeah, 8 a.m. for our next recon, that would be, that's not going to be, that wouldn't get the peak of it. That would not get the peak of it at all. That'd miss the peak, according to this model, by like 6 hours. But I'll be very curious to see what the other model runs show, because that's just one model run. That is indeed just one singular model run. Let's see. So, do I think that will happen? Heck to the no. No way. Personally, I think it can make a run for Category 2 status tonight into all of tomorrow. Maybe it can push Cat 3 tonight, but that's, that's a long shot. All right, these storms here, this one's now sub-severe in Newkirk. They've canceled that severe warning. So we're back down to just 2 warnings, actually, still, because we got a new one. So this one is still warned for 2-inch hail, 70-mile-an-hour winds. Our new one is warned for 1-inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds. Still see a little air rotation there, but like I said, I have a feeling that's corruption. We'll see if any other model runs show that ridiculous intensification phase like the HAFSB. Which I have to note, the HAFSB has actually been really good this year. It's probably been the best model run that has handled these hurricanes and tropical systems. Let's see. I think our next one's going to be the HAFSA. I think that's going to render in the quickest here compared to the HAFSB. Okay, there we go. I was pulling it up. So I only really see, yeah, this area never got its act together too well. I kept an eye on that, but that was most likely corruption as well. So there's only really one area we're watching now for, well, this one's gotten its act back together, east of Newkirk. We'll see what the next scan has, but Really, this is the main one I'm watching for tornado potential at the moment. That's going to be to the southwest, well, to the southwest of Fort Sumner. You can see Fort Sumner is right there. Here's our area of potential rotation. It doesn't look that impressive. Like I said, I feel like it's corruption, which is basically bad radar data. It's been pretty consistent, though. You can see it wrapped around quite properly on the radar site. It didn't just, fully appear in one scan. And it's been there for like 3-4 scans, too. So we'll keep a really close eye on that, see if it stays consistent there and continues that little area of rotation. And like I said, we'll also keep an eye on this one because it's got a hook back to it. This thing's had a hook like 3 or 4 times. Yeah, look at this. It had a little hook here, then it dissipated. Then it had another hook here, which is where it looked the best. That's 2. And then it had a third one here. So it's literally had like 3 hook echoes. And all 3 of them have dissipated very rapidly. This one might be sticking around for a little longer. Wait for that new scan. It should come in 21 seconds. Now 17 seconds. Let me go check this really fast. Wow. That Monday looks like a pretty good tornado threat, too. Hopefully that downtrends. If we do see a good tornado threat for Monday, it would be... let me just show you. Well, actually, I believe that is going to be a tornado warning. Not really for the storm I was thinking, but they did warn that area of rotation, so it's not corruption because they warned it. Here comes a beep. But that tornado threat on Monday would be generally here.
Tornado warning for southwestern Debaca County in east central New Mexico, Debaca County in New Mexico.
So that's our first tornado warning of the live stream. It may not be the last if this one can keep it up. So we'll keep an eye on that one. But yeah, there's our first tornado warning in almost 10 days. Very close to 10 days. What is that? The first tornado warning in 9 days. What? 23 hours? That's crazy. And 57 minutes. That is crazy. 3 minutes away from 10 days. Let's see. It includes 6 people. So there's 6 people who need to be seeking shelter. Southwest of Fort Sumner. That is indeed a tornado warning, and I do think we could see a new one, or another one, I should say, up here east of Newkirk. If it keeps it up for one more scan. Honestly, this scan might be enough for them to warn it. We'll just see if they warn that, but I mean, that is definitely rotating. You can see the air rotation now quite clearly right there. You got that hook echo, supercell look to it, and Rot has rotation, so there is rotation there east of Newkirk. But yeah, our new tornado warning was for this storm here. Very broad area of rotation that seems to be ongoing. Southwest of Fort Sumner by about, 35-ish miles. See, that air rotation is 30 miles away from Fort Sumner. 30 miles to the southwest of Fort Sumner is where we have a just a broad area of rotation. Let's see. HAFSA has Oscar being a 969. That'd probably be a high-end Cat 2. Or a Cat 3. Let me check. That would indeed be a Category 3. 115 sustained. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. So yeah, we're gonna continue to watch that tornado warning. Make sure you're seeking shelter. That is warned for 26 more minutes. It is also warned for 2-inch hail and 70 miles per hour. Yeah, had to double check there. Oh, Hmon? Shoot, Hmon rendered in quick, didn't it? Ooh, Hmon has a direct landfall there. Ooh, yikes! Hmon has a major hurricane about to hit Cuba on its newest frame. That is that a Cat 4? That is a borderline. That is a Category 4. That would be a Category 4 on the H1 model. So that's 3 out of our 4 hurricane models that support at least a Category 3 for Oscar. Next up is H-Wharf, which that's always slow. That is always very slow. Okay, there we go. So yeah, we're gonna continue to watch this. Northeast of Newkirk. We'll see what the next velocity scan has. That's your newest reflectivity scan. Which is 5 minutes ahead at the moment. Okay. Sorry, I'm a little distracted. I'm trying to do something really quick. There we go. Finally. Finally. Yeah, so again, there's your area of rotation, broad area of rotation on this tornado warning. It is getting a better look to it now. I will say it's getting a better look to it. I can't fully see that hook echo yet, but it looks like this is trying its best to get a really good supercell shape to it. That, I guess, this whole area here just might be your hook. It's definitely not a good hook, but we'll see. 128 knots, so that's an extreme high in Cat 4. Are we doing Milton again? Yeah, the only issue with that, though, is, Milton was quite well off to the north of the Yucatan Peninsula, so it didn't impact Yucatan significantly. This one, Oscar, is going to make a close call, if not a landfall, on Turks and Caicos. So it would be really, really bad. Actually, it wouldn't be Turks and Caicos, would it? Okay, it'd be this island here, actually. I don't know the population of that. And like I said, it's also going to go towards Cuba, too. Does the HAFSB have it making landfall in Cuba? Oscar. Yeah, the HAFSB does indeed have a major hurricane making landfall in Cuba. HAFSA agrees. HMON agrees. HMON has a borderline major, high in Cat 2. Very close to Cat 3. That would be a landfall at around tomorrow at 2 p.m. Right around 2 p.m. All right, let's go back over to our tornado warning again. Doesn't look too bad. This area of rotation looks to have weakened now. Let's go up here. It's still present, but it looks like our storm's starting to weaken again east of Newkirk. So they didn't tornado warn that. a frame ago, and I wouldn't expect them to warn it now because of that rotation weakening on the newest scan. But still going to keep an eye on that northeast of Newkirk, New Mexico. If you're just tuning in, we have a tornado warning out here about 29-30 miles southwest of Fort Sumner, New Mexico. There's currently 6 people in that tornado warning who need to be seeking shelter. And we'll continue to watch it very closely. There is a broad area of rotation. You can see a lot of reds going towards the radar site and then some greens going away from our radar site. It is trying to tighten up here, and it is succeeding at tightening up, actually. Look at that. You can see the inflow notch has just rapidly opened there. Very, very clear hook echo now. There you go. So that is actually wrapped up really quick on that newest frame. We'll see if the rotation gets better. Right now it still looks pretty broad, but from a reflectivity standpoint, that is a very close to a classic supercell. I mean, you can clearly see the bulk of your supercell here. It is a big supercell. Pretty big supercell. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so just make sure you're seeking shelter if you're in that tornado warning. This is probably going to move off to the west of Fort Sumner, too. So if you're in Fort Sumner, make sure you're also watching this storm. I believe it will stay off to your west, but you could still get under a tornado warning. I don't know the population here. Okay, there's definitely a good amount of people in Fort Sumner, New Mexico. There you go. Yeah, definitely quite a bit of people. But I do think it will stay west of that town. Its current trajectory is generally like this. Yeah, that looks about right. And of course, this can quite easily it might wobble a little to the right, might wobble a bit to the left. Now, tornadoes don't wobble as much as like hurricanes, but tornadoes still can take sharp left turns, sharp right turns, do U-turns. They could pretty much do just about anything you can think of. If you could think of something a tornado could do, we probably saw it in 2024. Shoot, we saw a tornado do a loop-de-loop. Not really. Basically, I was in Oklahoma. It occluded, but it didn't die out, so it didn't actually occlude, so it ended up doing this. So it did a loop. So pretty much anything you could think of, we've probably seen it. We've probably seen it in 2024. So that's why these warnings, the tornado warnings, you'll never see a tornado warning for like just the hook echo. So like I said, this storm's moving generally like this. You're not going to see a tornado warning that's like this small. You'll never see that. You'll never see that. Unless actually we have seen it before with like tornado emergencies, for instance, Mayfield, where you have a big PDS warning and then they issue a small Tor-E for nearly exactly where that tornado will track. But generally, you rarely see a tornado warning that's just for the hook, because tornadoes can, like I said, they can turn left like this and occlude. It could turn a little bit more to the right, do a freaking loop. So that's why everyone in the warning needs to seek shelter, and that's also why your tornado warning is typically, it covers a good chunk of your supercell. Yeah, that tornado, it is the tornado that also had an anticyclonic strong tornado. So just make sure you're seeking shelter. That's really what that whole rant was about. It's just make sure you're in your safe spot. There's, according to the National Weather Service, there's 2 people in this tornado warning. Let's see. I can't see a house right off the bat from satellite. But still a pretty broad area of rotation there. Really good looking hook echo, so still could quickly produce a tornado. We go over here. It still has a decent shape. It is definitely, it's gotten a lot smaller there. That inflow notch has kind of closed on us. We'll see on the next scan, see if that rotation's weakening. H-Morph's rendering in. Sweet. So again, make sure you're seeking shelter if you are in this tornado warning. That's your new velocity scan, which it does indicate that it is trying to occlude. You can see how your area of rotation went from about right where my cursor is, and then it moved more to the west, so your area of rotation is probably moved like that, which is an occlusion process. At least for now. We'll see if it comes back. It could very easily come back. I didn't see a debris signature. I didn't see any reports, so I don't think this hit. I don't think this touched the ground. I do actually know a chaser who's on this. There we go. Okay. I'm going to keep this chaser up. They're not live, but they're sending reports and pictures. So if they see anything, I will let y'all know. Okay. Back up to this storm. It still is trying. I mean, it's still, look at it. Even though it's a tiny little storm, it still appears to have a hook echo. Let's see if I can draw this. The main core of your supercell's like in here. So it is a pretty tiny supercell there, but you are, you know, we're obviously seeing some light rain away from the full core here. But your main core is right where I drew in those black lines right there. And like I said, I mean, it still is trying. It still has a little layer of rotation, although not definitive. It seems like it does have a little area trying to rotate in here, which is right about where that hook is. This is not warned, by the way. It's not rotating that strong, so I'm not surprised we don't have a warning on it. But the storm we do have a tornado warning on is this one out here, about 29, maybe even a little less than 29 miles away from Fort Sumter now, off to your southwest. I think it will remain off to your southwest and then eventually your west, and then, of course, begin to move up to your northwest. So it should stay away from Fort Sumter unless it takes a drastic right turn. Yeah, I think the H-Morph will also have Oscar as a major hurricane. It would not surprise me. Well, I mean, right now it's already up to 100 knots. Which I think that is a major hurricane. So, I'm pretty sure that's a major hurricane on the H-Morph. So, all of them are, all of our hurricane models say that Oscar will become a major hurricane tonight. The H-Morph wants it in legit an hour. Let's see. What does the H-Morph simulated satellite look like? Oh, yeah, it does have simulated satellite. Interesting. I mean, it's nothing close to what it actually looks like right now. But I don't think we'll see a major hurricane at the 8 o'clock update. I would be blown away. Still very broad area rotation on this tornado warning, but it's still trying. It is indeed still trying. So just make sure you're still in your safe spot. This storm up here, which we've been watching for a while now, north of Newkirk, still has a pretty good shape to it, but it should die out really, really fast as more storms form around it, and it just really gets embedded inside of rain. It gets embedded in a clustery mess, I should say. So main tornado potential is obviously going to be with this storm for now. Southwest of Fort Sumner. We'll continue to watch that closely. It does appear like more storms are forming to the west of Roswell, but if we're going to see that good tornado threat to the south, they just severe warned that. If we're going to see a good tornado threat to the south, like I said, it's going to have to be somewhere in here. And it's also going to have to be discrete, too. We'd have to have a discrete storm, not a storm that looks like a line, like the one that is currently formed west of Roswell. Currently warned for 1.5-inch hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. Okay. Let me go check mesoanalysis. We should get a new one here very soon. What is it? It's 23 UTC. So I'm gonna wait. Actually, I'll just check it anyways. And then I'll check the new one too. Looks like instability is definitely decreased a lot. Lower level jet is a little bit too far to the east to really help these storms. And wind shear is pretty good. Wind shear is pretty good. Wind shear is definitely not much of an issue here. Looks like your main issue is going to be capping and the cape starting to lower. Lapse rates, I mean, since when are those, like, never an issue? So mid-level lapse rates and capping starting to build, as well as instability starting to lower. But your wind shear is still staying strong there, and your wind shear is probably going to keep increasing. So, yeah. No, there's a, wow. I haven't switched to this radar site yet, and I'm going to have to switch to it because we just got a severe warning. There's, like, nowhere to say where this is. But it is a severe thunderstorm warning for 1-inch hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds out here. West of, oh shoot, there's no towns I can pronounce. Northeast of Hatch, New Mexico. How many miles is it northeast of Hatch? It is approximately 33 miles to the northeast of Hatch, New Mexico, where we got that new severe at. Let's see. I am definitely thinking of it, Tyler. At the moment, I really don't think it's worth it. Maybe in a little while longer, maybe another year I'll end up seeing it being worth it. But I mean, for now, I'm just going to focus on YouTube and study what I can with books I buy. So at the moment, I don't plan on going to college anytime soon, but that could quickly change. I would love to get it just so I can simply say that I'm a degreed meteorologist. And plus, of course, I love the weather, so I'd absolutely love to study it. But just for reasons I won't talk about, as well as for the price, I'm not planning on college at the moment. I have plenty of weather books legacy. I have plenty. I gotta go check my area. Man, nothing happening in my area. Yeah, this is mainly going to remain a wind threat and isolated hail threat out here west of Roswell. That might be your linear line that has started up now. So that's probably what's going to help decrease your tornado threat. So really just watching one storm for a tornado threat now. This thing looks like it's fallen off at the moment. If that's not corruption, we actually might have a big issue out here. I don't think that's corruption. We might actually have a very strong area of rotation with this storm. We might actually have about 100-mile-an-hour rotation right there. Keep a really close eye on that. That is the storm we've been watching for an hour or so. Now north of Newkirk. This storm still, it still looks really good, but just the rotation hasn't gotten its act together. The wind's going away from the radar, you can see here, and wind's going towards the radar here. They're not tight. They're very broad. Like a large area has a really weak area of rotation. Nothing's tight. Nothing's gate to gate. Whereas up here, if this isn't corruption, we have an extremely tight area of inflow and an extremely tight area... Do inflow again. Extremely tight area of outflow. You can see that is very much pixel to pixel action right there. And that's why NROT indicates yellow, which yellow on NROT is typically a strong area of rotation. And then once you get to red NROT, I believe red NROT is like, I think red NROT only shows up when you're over 100-mile-an-hour rotation. I'm not for sure, though. And then I have no idea for pink and white NROT. I don't see those enough to know. Read one for stream? Yeah. No. I'm not going to start no 300-page textbook on a live stream. Weather streams aren't really the most entertaining thing to start with, but you want me to read a book? Man, you'll fall asleep so fast, I don't even think you'll be able to know it. You won't even notice you've fallen asleep. Wow. H-Morph is definitely showing a Category 3 now. So every hurricane model shows at least a Category 3 hurricane forming tonight out of Oscar. No offense at all, Legacy. I myself would not watch a reading stream. That's just me, though. I really wouldn't. Let me see. I saw something over here. Where is it? I don't think I'm going to be able to find it. It's gone in the Twitter feed. Oh, there it is. Oh, well, it's nothing important. Man, I did all that digging just for it to not be important. I still have my intro music up. Wow, that is very, very tight rotation still. If that is actually true, we are, we're really close to, actually, we're over 100-mile rotation now on this. So NROTS, obviously, it combines different things than just velocities. So there's not really a set limit for miles per hour that it will show up different colors for. I thought maybe it was 100 plus for red, but nope. Seems like it's going to go off of a couple different things. But yeah, if that's true, I mean, we could potentially have a strong area of rotation still right there to the northeast of Newkirk by a couple miles. Oh, we are no longer tornado warned. This area of rotation was just too broad for them to continue. You can still see it still has that supercell look to it. This is the one that was recently tornado warned, so it still has a tornadic look to it. The velocities, though, are just disorganized. Like, you have a little area that's trying to tighten up in here, but it's just overall there's a very large area of red and a very large area of green that's not that tight. So, therefore, it doesn't warrant a tornado warning yet. I am still... Honestly, I'm starting to get a little surprised that they haven't warned this. Maybe they just believe it is complete corruption. The good news is I haven't seen a CC drop with it yet, so there most likely hasn't been a tornado out of it. Or at least a strong one. Let's see. Let's see. Give me a second. Okay, that's right there. Alright, where is that? Can we find that site? Let me find that town. This one in New Mexico. Interesting. Well, that's not the right area. Oh, well. I thought maybe we potentially had a report of of something. But it looks like it might have been in the wrong area. But if we do get a report, then, you know, the National Weather Service, it will obviously be relayed to them. All right, so they did issue a new severe on that. It's not tour possible for Fort Sumner. So if you are in Fort Sumner, this thing is taking a little right turn because it's actually been impacted by that, what's probably the cold front. Don't quote me on that, but I imagine our cold front's generally in here. Well, I'm not even holding the mouse. I'm not clicking down the button. I wish I could show you this. Look. See? These are the buttons on my mouse, and it's literally, it's holding it down itself. Okay, Radar Omega, just another bug. But yeah, it seems like we have our cold front's probably generally in here. It did it again! It did it again! Cold front's here. Is it still doing it? Okay. Cold front's here. This storm is here, of course. This storm's here. This storm's here. And as that cold front moves to the east, it's going to begin to push these storms more eastward. So their movement before was more like, you know, generally like this, and their movement's going to start to slowly turn more to the northeast like so. I mean, this could still be rotating, and it just might not be picked up on velocity too well, because that is still a supercell look. You know, you still have that split look to it. Still have that hail core. You still have a hook echo. You still have an inflow notch. So there's still a lot of characteristics of this being a tornadic storm. It's just the velocities don't show a strong area of rotation yet. Don't show a strong area of rotation just yet. And this area that seemed to have a strong area of rotation is now falling apart, so that's good. hopefully we continue to see that weakening trend there with this storm in the other cell as well. It indeed does. You are correct. So H4 peaks, Oscar, at what? Maybe I think that's a mid-tier Cat 3. I don't know my knots too. Oh, actually, that is a borderline category 4. So H4 has like an extremely high-end category 3, borderline category 4 peak. And then it weakens, makes landfall on Cuba as a category 2. Well, good news is Louisiana is not in the threat of anything anytime soon, Tyler. Are you guys even going to get rain out there anytime soon? It's definitely a big change from what Louisiana has seen this year. Yeah, literally on our newest GFS run, I mean, you barely even get rain on any day. I'm sure you'll end up with rain at some point in Louisiana over the next 2 weeks, but definitely no notable threats anytime soon. Unfortunately, though, we're already heading into second season. It's October, so second tornado season's starting to begin. But there's no sign of, any crazy tornado threats yet. Even the threats that we're tracking today, tomorrow, and Monday, I mean, they're not crazy threats. Most of them are probably going to end up being lower in tornado threats where we barely even see, good areas of rotation. We've seen quite a few areas of rotation today, though. And we did see that tornado warning. I want to go back over here. There we go. Alrighty. So again, we still have a pretty good tornadic cell here southwest of Fort Sumner. So if you are in Fort Sumner, I know there's quite a population there. In my opinion, you should be getting your safe spot ready just in case. You're in a severe thunderstorm warning currently. Sorry, I got distracted. But yeah, you're at a severe thunderstorm warning currently, which means you should be away from doors and windows. And you are not in a possible severe. But I do suggest being close to your safe spot anyways, just in case. But at the moment, the National Weather Service does not have a tornado possible tag on your severe thunderstorm warning. So if I live in Fort Sumner right now, I'm getting away from doors and windows, making sure everybody knows there's a storm approaching, making sure nobody's outside, making sure everything's tied down, nothing can go flying away out there in the yard. And then I'm getting, like I said, indoors, away from doors and windows, and staying close to my safe spot just in case. If you can, avoid going outside. If there's nothing that's going to fly away, please don't go outside. But if you think something could end up becoming debris and potentially harming others, like a trampoline, right now in Fort Sumner, I don't see much lightning out there. So I personally would just make sure that's tied down, because you don't want a trampoline flying into, your neighbor's yard or smashing out a window. But those should be basic preparations that you do before these storms end up firing. When you're under a severe thunderstorm risk, just keep in mind some of these preparations that, once you're under a severe storm, what do you end up doing? A severe storm, you're typically going to just stay indoors, away from doors and windows, like I said. But if there's stuff that normally has the threat of flying away, like maybe outside chairs, trampolines, think of bringing that stuff in and tying that stuff down before the risk even begins, so that way you don't risk like being struck by lightning or being out in the middle of a hailstorm. Like here in Virginia, some of the main things we do, literally, we move our cars. We have to move our cars from our driveway because there's two big trees at our driveway. And sometimes we end up seeing, like my car had a lot of sticks on it one time after a storm. So just thinking of doing, some preparations that you may end up doing in the middle of a storm before the storm hits. You might want to do that. That goes for areas downstream too. If you're watching from like Melrose or these other areas inside the slight risks, generally in this area here, just do some basic preparations before storms hit. See, like putting your vehicles in your garage or under a carport before the storms even start firing is a great idea. Just making sure preparations are done. If you could do them before the storms even form, that's fantastic. The sooner the better. The thing you want to try to avoid is going out in the storm. And remember, once that severe thunderstorm warning comes through, there's a pretty good chance once that warning comes through, that means you're close enough to be struck by lightning, no matter where you are in that warning. We've seen lightning strike very far away from any precipitation on a storm, so there's always the risk of lightning. Which is why I said you should probably, make sure this stuff's done before you end up inside a warning. So if you're in Fort Sumner, again, I would highly recommend making sure you are indoors, away from doors and windows, and close to your safe spot. Hopefully you already have everything hunkered down and tied down. If you don't, you should probably run inside now. This storm's getting pretty close, so I would not be tying things down now if you're in Fort Sumner. Hopefully you already did it. Hopefully it's done, because you could see some lightning hit Fort Sumner soon, because like I said, lightning can strike well outside the core of a thunderstorm. You might be getting some gusty winds in Fort Sumner. And if you're not, then this storm is going to be very close to hitting you right now. And I do think the rotation's ramping up a bit, so I wouldn't be all that shocked to see a tornado warning issued, especially if we keep that area of green and red right there. You can see our red is moving more still like this, but our green, it's actually gotten tighter in here. So our inflow is getting tighter in our storm right where that hook echo is. So I would not be shocked to see this get a warning. Also, this cell further to the south is now a considerable severe for 60-mile-an-hour winds, 1.75-inch hail. And, okay, not a torr possible. Okay, they actually put a torr possible in our storm up here. Geez, I can't even find it now. Newkirk is, there you go. Newkirk's way down here, so this is now way off to the north of Newkirk, but finally got a severe warning on it. Torr possible, 1.25-inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds. I mean, if this storm doesn't start rotating again soon, it won't have another chance because, like I said, it's going to be embedded in all that rain and clustery mess to its west. It should not last much longer. I'm surprised it's still going. All the other storms that were rotating up here, they're all now bundled up into just a clustery mess. So anything that was formed, it's just messy now. Let's see. Make sure those are still all the same. So the main storm I'm watching is Fort Sumner. That area of potential rotation did die out, but there's still, I mean, those pixels are still getting close to each other there. So I would definitely keep an eye on that, see if that tightens up at all. Let's see here. Okay. Also keeping an eye on satellite imagery because Oscar could rapidly intensify. It's already rapidly intensified for the last couple hours, and it could quickly start another rapid intensification process. It doesn't look like it's rapidly intensifying yet. It still looks pretty sloppy and messy. So we'll, I'll keep an eye on that for sure. Lucky should be here within 10 minutes. if all goes well. So hopefully he ends up joining us for the stream. No tornado warnings are active. We do still have actually 5 severes. That might be the most we've seen today. I forgot if our last peak was, we either had 4 or 5 just after we started the live stream. But anyways, we do have 5 severes. Only one of those is significant right now, and only one of those is tour possible. Our significant severe is going to be this one here for 1.25 inch hail, and our tour possible severe is going to be, move this one up here, tour possible 1.25 inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour wind. So we'll keep an eye on both of those storms and see what ends up happening. I want to go, yikes. Smoothing is just, I keep turning on smoothing expecting it to be a different result every time. But every time I turn it on, it's just like, man, that doesn't look good. But some programs smoothing works with, like GR Analysis, or rather GR Earth, which is what you see here. I think smoothing works pretty dang well with this program. GR Analysis, which is this one, GR2 Analysis, I think that works pretty well too, but you still lose some data. It's just not nearly as bad as Radar Omega, so I don't know. I think Radar Omega, you just lose too much data for putting smoothing on. Like I said, still a broad area rotation in here. Just a couple miles now southwest of Fort Sumner. Again, if you're in Fort Sumner, you should be away from doors and windows. Don't go outside because lightning with this storm has been pretty frequent. I haven't... Oh, well, there you go. Yeah. There's some more lightning strikes in the last couple minutes there. These ones that are pretty bright, those are probably within the last 5 minutes. This one that's pretty dull, those are probably about almost 15 minutes ago now. Let's see. Okay. So I appreciate you guys being in here. We're still going to stay live, so if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, share the stream with your family, friends, and on social media. It's greatly, greatly appreciated. And like I said, we're going to be live tomorrow for severe weather, and we'll also be live Monday for severe weather as well. I don't think I have anything that will come up on both of those days, so I should be live anywhere between 4 and 7 p.m. both tomorrow and Monday. It just depends on when storms really get going. When they really get going, that's when I'll hop on. Like I did today. Okay, I'm going to go check that meso analysis. I completely forgot about that. They came in about 18 minutes ago. So let me go see what that shows. Forecast, meso analysis, New Mexico. I mean, still capping is slowly increasing. Instability is slowly decreasing. Mid-level lapse rates are probably still garbage. Mid-level lapse rates are... I mean, it's at 6. It's not complete garbage, but that's pretty bad. And our photographs, a way more favorable environment. Very far south and also very far east. This area here is very favorable. Which just happens to be where these storms are probably not going to go. All these storms are probably going to end up dying out before they get to this environment here. Which is why I said if we do see a storm in this area, that's going to be our best opportunity for a tornado today. But we are starting to run out of time for that. I don't think we're going to end up seeing a storm further south. But yeah, I've missed doing these severe weather coverages with you guys, so I really appreciate you guys being here. It's crazy how we used to do this for 6 hours every day for months on end. I mean, not completely, we end up doing like 2 hours one day, 6 hours the next day, 13 hours the next day. We did that from March through April, through May, through June, and then we settled it down a bit in July, and then we started really plateauing it off in August, and then September and October. I've got to get some plans and stuff ready for winter coverage live streams. I really want to do some stuff for winter live streams. I really want to make it more enjoyable than just looking at the radar and seeing blue. I just got to figure out what to do. So there's a lot of stuff I want to work with and I want to work on. Some of that, I did do some things in the background over the last 2 days. I also got to work on being consistent with member streams. So there's a lot of stuff still to do on this channel. And then, like I said, actually, I don't know if I've told you guys, but in 2025, I'm still planning on going out in the plains. It didn't work out in this year. I mean, lucky, we met, but we really didn't have enough faith in ourselves to go out in the middle of Kansas or Nebraska. So we're going to aim to do that in 2025. Let's hope we do it. We just got to do it. We did chase a hurricane. We promised to you guys that we'd end up chasing a tropical system, and we did end up doing that. We chased Debbie. Yeah, we chased Debbie. So we kept that promise. Now I'm not promising, but I'm really hoping we get to go in the plains this upcoming year. Now, this area of rotation west of Fort Sumner, that is definitely completely fallen apart. Over the last 3 to 4 scans, it has lost its complete supercell characteristics. You can see it's starting to go more outflow dominant here. So this has definitely lost its chance for a tornado. What about this cell up here? Still a broad area of rotation. It's still holding on, but you can see all these rain showers and clustery messes that are going to interfere with it. So I don't think this will have much of a chance. I don't think this is going to have much of a chance anymore. And I don't know about these storms in Roswell, nor about this cell out here. I doubt this will do anything tornadic. These storms in Roswell look way too linear and messy and clustered. The only main threat with this will be on the southern extent, where we have a lot of lightning, probably some damaging winds, and large hail. And I don't think this cell will do anything. It has a chance, but it doesn't look all that organized right now. So I really don't think we're going to have a whole lot here, tornadic-wise, over the next however long we stay live here. I think the NHC will do an update at 8 p.m. I'm pretty sure they do 3 hourly updates when a watch or warning is issued. So you're very welcome to correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we're going to get an update at 8 p.m. Eastern here in about 22 minutes. I hope I can make them enjoyable, Ben. I hope I can. Well, there's your 8 o'clock update for Nadine. Nadine is officially now a tropical depression, which means it is weakening. Heavy rain continues over the Yucatan Peninsula. Now we gotta wait for Oscar's update. So let's see. There we go. There should be advisory number 3A. Elkhorn? Was that Elkhorn? Is that Nebraska? Are you talking about like the April? Is that April 26th outbreak? I forgot which one that is. I know, I think that one was upped to EF4, but I don't remember. That might not be the one you're talking about. I think the Elkhorn one was EF4, but I've honestly forgotten a bit. I know for a fact it was at least EF3, but it might have been the one that was up to EF4. Sam says it was up to EF4. So it most likely that's the one I'm thinking of. So we're going to continue to watch these storms, but our line's starting to catch up, so I think our tornado threat's going down. I shouldn't say line, I should say cold front. I should say cold front. Your cold front is approaching generally in here, and that's allowing for this to be linear. These storms are starting to go linear. This has been linear, holy cow, linear, and it's starting to get more messy as well. So I think our tornado threat is nearly done, honestly. I believe it's nearly done. Let's see. This warning has 5 minutes left. This has 35 minutes, 20 minutes, 35 minutes. So, yeah. This one has 20 minutes as well. We're definitely going to be live for at least another... I don't want to say exactly when, but we're going to be live until at least all of those expire. We'll see if any get continued, which I'm sure some will. I'm going to go back to satellite here. We're going to go to Mesosector 1. We're going to go to clean infrared satellite. Yeah, we got one big hot tower that is popped up right over, very close to Turks and Caicos. Pretty much over Turks and Caicos. I don't know exactly where your center is, but if we're going to see rapid intensification, we're going to have to see some more towers going up on the southwest side. So if you're low, which I don't know, like I said, I don't know exactly where it is, but if that's where your low is, right there, we have towers on the northwest side and the northeast, northern, and kind of northwestern side, but we got to get it on the southern side. Okay, it was up to EF4. All right. I knew one of them was, but I couldn't remember which one was. Yeah, so there's no areas of good rotation. We think we still might have a broad area up here and a broad area here as well. A broad region west of Fort Sumner and a very broad area south of Bell Ranch. Bell Ranch one looks a bit better, but it's broad. So not really a good area of rotation. Let's see. Oh, that's interesting. Apparently, Oscar was one of the fastest storms to go from a tropical depression to a high-end tropical storm. I can't do that math. I'm too tired for that. It strengthened 45 miles per hour in 12 hours. That is definitely rapid intensification. We had a tropical depression rapidly intensify in 2024. This is now a considerable severe for 1.75-inch hail. Honestly thought that was going to be for wind. But the National Weather Service obviously believes that we could have 1.75-inch hail in probably the northern hail core, but any of these hail cores are going to be capable of 1.75-inch hail. I think tomorrow will be much of the same. Good tornado potential, but it's all going to come down to if we see a strong storm fire to the south. If we don't, we're going to be dealing with more of a hail threat. But tomorrow we should have more semi-discrete storms, and that should allow for at least a better opportunity for a tornado to form. I did see a potential report, or I did see a report, my word. I saw a report of a potential tornado, but it has not been confirmed. So we'll see if the National Weather Service confirms that report in picture of a potential tornado was actually a tornado or not. So we may have had one tornado today, and if we did, it would have been extremely. It was extremely weak. Let's see here. Okay. I mean, if it did touch down, I mean, I saw the picture. It literally, it would have barely been classified as a tornado if it does end up getting, if it ended up doing any damage. It barely even looked like it touched down. So if we did have a tornado, it was extremely brief and extremely weak. And I think it was around Roswell. I don't remember exactly where. I'm trying to think, but I can't remember it. But I believe it was somewhere. Or was it up here? I cannot remember where it was, y'all. It was somewhere along, I think somewhere along here. I think somewhere in here. Probably from this storm. There was a town. I remember. If I can find the town name, I'll recognize it. But the point being is we probably most likely didn't have a tornado today. We most likely did not have a tornado today. And if we did, it was very weak and very brief. Well, now that's going to bug me. I want to find that town name so I could tell you guys where we may have had a tornado. Oh. Is this the town name? No. I cannot remember it. It was somewhere in here. Definitely wasn't that. Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is. That's it. That's it. That's the town name. So it was whatever storm passed close to this area. So I think this is the one where we had a potential tornado report. That's where it was. I found it. It was this town right here. It wasn't Roswell. It was the other R. Oh, thank goodness. That would have bugged me for the rest of the day. Not knowing where that town was. This still looks pretty tornadic up here. I mean, I'm not even going to lie. It doesn't look that bad in Bell Ranch. If you're in Bell Ranch, I highly suggest you are away from windows, doors and windows, and stay close to your safe spot because it seems like this is still trying its best to rotate. And I mean, it still has a okay hook echo. They just updated that warning, see if it's still TOR possible. It is still TOR possible, 1.5-inch hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. And this storm here is also warned for 1.75-inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour wind. So we have a very windy storm. Or not a windy, what? Gone. English gone. We have a storm producing some large hail southwest of Roswell. We have a hail core that is also producing, you guessed it, hail. We also have a storm that's producing more of just a wind threat. West of Fort Sumner, you can see the outflow dominant, the linear look to it. So that's going to continue producing a severe wind threat in the sense of 60-mile-an-hour winds. And we have a supercell capable of all hazards up here. Town name? I don't know where. There's no towns that are pronounceable in this severe warning. But it is about 48 miles to the northeast of Santa Rosa. Yep, Ben, it happens. It happens. I lose my train of thought. And English just leaves my brain. I have a feeling that's just always going to happen when I'm live. That's not going to be something that's better. I'm never going to get better at speaking English. Okay, there we go. Yeah, we'll see if this can rotate more here. I'm noting that that hook echo might actually end up being occluded here very shortly, thanks to some extra convection on the eastern side of that hook echo. I don't think that's going to promote tornado genesis and actually be like a successful donut supercell. The storm's moving out of the best environment. It's very clustered, so I am shocked. I am shocked that it is still even chugging along here with an area of rotation, a hail core, and a miniature supercell look. I'm quite surprised by that. Let's see. That's the best part of severe weather events in New Mexico. Rarely are people actually affected. Well, I mean, there's definitely been a lot of people inside these warnings today. Only what? I think we had 8 people, either 6 or 8 people inside a tornado warning today. Yeah, I think it was 6. So, I mean, we had 1 tornado warning, so we definitely had the potential for tornadoes today because, well, I can't even tell you how many tor possibles we've seen today. We've probably seen it, like, I'd say at least 10, right? There's no way we saw less than 10 tor possibles today. Because, let's see, we had 1 here, 2, we had 3, 4, 5, 6. I'd say we had, okay, maybe it's not as much as I thought. I'd say maybe around 6, 7 tor possibles. Somewhere around there. We had a lot of tor possibles. Now I'm wanting to count. So this one, I know for a fact, wasn't a tor possible. This one was. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And was this one tor possible? No. So I think we had 6 tor possibles and 1 tornado warning today. It felt like a lot more than that, honestly. It felt like a lot more tor possibles. Do you think tomorrow will be a bigger tornado threat? The potential is definitely higher. But actually being a bigger tornado threat, I don't think so. I think it will be about the same. You know, I think we have about the same potential we had today. Or no, the potential, the ingredients for tomorrow are greater. But I think we're gonna end up seeing something that ends up messing it up, and we end up having like the same, near the same outcome. It's like after like 4 o'clock, my brain just shuts off. I rarely have I rarely have my whole one brain cell once I start up a stream. Both of those are still considerable. I still have a tor possible severe, so we're still at 5 severe warnings here. Let me refresh this. We're getting a new HRRR. Although I know I'm not supposed to look at it once the event's really ongoing, you're not going to stop me. So, yeah, like I said, tomorrow's potential is going to be higher. But it's... I think it's all going to come down to where the storms fire. I think that's what it's going to be. I think that's what it's going to come down to. The potential is higher, but it's all going to come down to where we see the storms fire. Because if we see the storms fire like what the HRRR is showing, the tornado threat's definitely going to be on the lower side. It's probably going to end up verifying like, you know, what today has. You know, you might see potentially a tornado, but it's mainly going to be hail and significant wind. But if we could see storms fire a little bit more south, as well as be a little bit more spaced out, then that's going to be better tornado potential. So overall, I think tomorrow's going to be more of a hail threat, gusty wind threat, and we could be unlucky and actually see a tornado. But we'll get more information tomorrow. We're at the peak now of our event. We're up to 7 severes. I believe that's the most we've had. Hopefully, we'll end up losing at least 2 of these in the next 4 minutes. And then hopefully we'll lose 2 more in 19 minutes. Well, thank you, Ben. Much appreciated. I think I do pretty bad myself. I mean, okay myself. There's your new NHC update for Oscar. Still maintaining at 85 miles per hour. Pressure is 987. I don't know if that's higher or lower than the last update, but it's 987. And in terms of the track, I don't think we're going to get that for another, like, 5 minutes. Oops. Wasn't supposed to do that. Or that. There we go. Okay, so once this says 8 p.m., once you see this 5 actually turn into an 8, it says 8 p.m., that's when we have the new intensity track. Well, there's, I think a continuation of our severe, so yeah, there you go. We indeed have a new severe. So we lost one, but we gained one. We should lose this one right here in 3 minutes. I would be pretty surprised if they continue that. But we should lose this one in 3 minutes or less, so we're still at 6 severes, which is the highest we've been at. But thankfully, no tornado warnings at the moment. And only one area is rotating enough for them to have a possible severe on it. That's this one up here. Not really a town name, I can say, but it is barely rotating in this area right in there. Just a bit of rotation. My voice really starts to not like me at about the 3.5 hour mark. That's normally when my voice starts to go bye-bye. But, yeah, I believe the longest coverage stream on this channel was just over 15 hours straight. Like, I had a whole 5-second break because we had to start up a new live stream. We were live for so long. Let's see. Yeah, in terms of snow, too, I really don't think we're going to be seeing a lot of snowy action anytime soon in the U.S. Just higher elevations will have chances every now and then, but no, like, big snowstorm opportunities in October at the moment. So, yeah, honestly, after this trough, it looks relatively inactive. I'm sure we're going to end up seeing at least one more big thing we have to track to close out October. And then early and mid-November, from like November 1st to November 15th, we have a decent opportunity to see a tropical system form in the somewhere in the Caribbean. Most likely won't head towards the U.S. As long as we could keep that dominant high pressure in place. Yeah, mine has legacy. Mine gets like that very frequently. I've actually lost my voice from live streaming for so long. Like the next day, I could barely speak and it hurts. We are down to 5 severes again. We'll see about losing those other 2 in 15 minutes, but we'll continue with off and on severes probably for the next 2 hours. My main goal here was to stream the tornado threat. I think we've successfully done that, so we're not going to wrap up yet, but just note we are nearing the end of this coverage stream. I don't believe we saw a tornado today, but like I said, there was that report of a possible tornado. It's, of course, all up to the National Weather Service to confirm if whether or not that report was simply just a scud, some scud, because we've seen some very convincing scuds. If it was a funnel that never touched down, or if it was an actual tornado. Because we indeed do have a picture of it. I don't have the rights to show it. Hopefully this doesn't... Okay. Good. I had to check something, and I thought it might log me out of Streamlabs. It did not, thankfully. Alrighty. Well, I'm going to take this opportunity to flip you guys on over to the main scene. The one that we are most used to here on the channel. And we're going to go and look at some models and our tropics for just a bit. Whilst we wait for that stuff to expire and update. Here's our National Hurricane Center outlook for the next 7 days. There is the remnants of Nadine. That is a tropical depression. Currently, it is still weakening. There's Hurricane Oscar, which real quick, just going to go back here and check if they updated the intensity. It doesn't say that they did, but I'm pretty sure they did. I guess they don't update the intensity. Oh, nope, there you go. So yeah, they're still forecasting a high-end Category 1, and they are forecasting landfall on this this island as well. Just wanted to check that real quick. But there's your NHC. Here's Oscar. This is its wind field. You can see tropical storm force wind speeds are not really that far out from the center. And then, holy cow, there is your very small hurricane force wind speeds from Oscar over the last 6 or so hours. There's a rainfall potential. The greatest potential is definitely going to be in Cuba, where we could see up to 6 inches of rainfall. And that's about it. I don't really think we have much more than that. There's a arrival time for wind speed. So if you are watching from southeastern Cuba, preparations need to be rushed to completion tonight. And yeah, here's your hurricane models. This is your HWRF for Oscar. You can see HWRF has it becoming a mid-tier category, high-end category 3 hurricane, borderline category 4. Makes landfall in eastern Cuba as a probably a low-end cat 2, and then just stays over Cuba for quite a while. HMON model run shows near the same thing. HMON, instead of peaking it over that island, it peaks it before it hits Cuba. So HMON still has a peak of a Category 3 hurricane hitting Cuba, and then it takes it a little bit further south into more southwestern Cuba, but eventually it does go back up into the Bahamas, and then heads towards out to sea. HAFSA is, of course, going to show pretty much the same as the HMON, like literally Control C, Control V from the HMON model run here. Peaks Category 3 intensity just before landfall in Cuba. This has it going a little bit more into the Caribbean, which is pretty far to the south in our other models, and then eventually goes back into Cuba, and then kind of just lingers around Cuba instead of going out to sea. It just lingers in Cuba. Now the most aggressive model run, your HAFSB model run, showing a very powerful 170 mile per hour Category 5 hurricane, 928 millibars just to the south of that island, weakening it to a Category 4 before landfall in Cuba. And then, of course, does what the HAFSA did and kind of hangs it around in the Caribbean Ocean until it pulls it back into Cuba. Oh, well, we never get pulled back into Cuba on this one. It just kind of chills out there as a tropical storm in the northwestern Caribbean. Wow, interesting. That's the only model run that shows it chilling in the northwestern Caribbean as a tropical storm. So that's all your model run updates there. And even though I don't like to look at the GFS as far out, I'm going to look at it and just show you guys what I'm going to be watching. So towards the end of this month, this is, of course, a deterministic model run, so definitely don't take it seriously, as we're going to see, we're not going to see an east-moving hurricane in the Caribbean. What in the world? Definitely don't trust the GFS with this one, but generally we're going to be watching this area here for tropical development from November 1st to November 15th. So that large area there. Definitely nothing to be concerned about, just going to watch it. And that's about it. I mean, if it does end up doing something, then we'll talk about that when the time comes. But at the moment, just like I said, I'm going to keep an eye on this area, November 1st to November 15th. And then here's our ensembles as well. And you can see the ensembles light up decently. This isn't even the end of it, so let's go to the 12Z so I can show you the end of it. So 12Z's light up decently. I mean, not really that over the top, but just like I said, generally want to watch that area. I did put the Gulf of Mexico in that circle there. I really don't think we're going to have to watch the Gulf. It's not a bad idea if you're out here from the Gulf coastline, just to keep an eye on the evolving pattern for the potential of a tropical storm out here as we go from November 1st to November 15th. But we should, fingers crossed, have that dominant high pressure you can see here in place, which should, fingers crossed, steer anything that tries to go into the U.S. Out to sea, generally like that. Or with like what Nadine's doing and swings it into the Yucatan Peninsula, keeps it far south of the U.S. and far south of the Gulf of Mexico. I just want to discuss that really quick. I am shocked, man. We still have, this storm is still tour possible. 2-inch hail, 60 mile an hour winds. That hail threat actually went up by 0.5 there. I am very surprised that this storm is still alive. We've been looking at this one storm the whole live stream. This thing has survived a whole 2 hours and almost 15 minutes. That one singular storm has traveled from like near Fort Sumner all the way up to where it is now. That is just crazy. Yeah, you can see there at the beginning of that loop. I know it's difficult because there you go. But yeah, it formed like somewhere around Fort Sumner, and we've been watching it ever since then. It's hung on for like 3 hours. Like, let's see where it first formed. So it first formed, south of Fort Sumner at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. And then it tracked all the way up to the northeast. And it's still alive, even inside that cluster, which should be killing it off by now. But it's still alive. Okay. Let me go to the current radar. Yeah, we're definitely going to lose that one in 6 minutes. They've already continued that one. So in 6 minutes, we should be down to 4 severe warnings. assuming nothing gets continued. But right now we're down to 5. So just gonna keep an eye on that little area of rotation here. I really don't think it's much, though. I think our tornado potential is just about, if not done. There's still a chance, there's still a chance we see some small areas of rotation. But, that was really our main event. Like I said, from 6 to 8 o'clock. I said that at the beginning of the live stream, and that was perfect. That was exactly what happened. Our greatest potential was from 6 to 8. Let's see. Yeah, the main threat will begin to die off at 10. We still have them. We still have a chance for a tornado between now and 9, and then between 9 and 10, it's mainly hail and wind. And after 10, I mean, we probably won't have much left of this system. Probably just mainly rain. We are down to 4 severes for the first time in a little while. I don't know, Haley. I don't know if Lucky's gonna go live, but if he goes live, I'll go and hop on his stream, help him out. He certainly didn't make 7:30, did he? Hello, Isabel. Glad to see you in here. He definitely did not make 7:30. $7:30 changes to 8, 8 changes to 9, 9 changes to 10, 10 changes to next week. I can see that on satellite imagery. Yeah, I see that, Ben. Maybe I do this geocolor. There you go. Yeah, so you can see this is your not cold front, but your low pressures right in here. I don't believe that's the main low pressure that's causing this severe weather threat. That is a low pressure. You have an occluding front that goes into a cold front in here. And then you have a low pressure right about here, and that changes into a cold front, warm front that goes through Oklahoma and across Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, South Dakota, Minnesota, Canada. So that's your main one. Your main one is actually the low pressure that connects that occluding front with the cold front and the surface, the cold front and the warm front, cold front, and the occluding front. There's a lot of fronts. You have your occluding front here, another cold front here, a low pressure here, and a cold front, warm front here. Generally, I know I drew that differently. That's because I'm not looking at it anymore. I was looking at it from the surface observations. Still keeping an eye on this booking vortex right up here. Sometimes you can end up getting an area of rotation on the west-northwest side of a bow echo. I don't think we have the best environment to support that, so it's not something I'm concerned of, but I'm just watching it. But yeah, we hit our like goal of 50 likes. We try to hit that every live stream, and honestly, I can't really remember the last time we didn't hit that. So I appreciate the support on the channel, and yeah, hopefully you guys will continue watching throughout the most boring time of the year. Because let's face it, you don't really watch weather channels in winter. I mean, the main thing you look at is probably your snowfall forecast, and then done. I say that because that's what I end up doing. Let's see. Okay. Dang, that's a long one. Pete, are you in here? See if I jump scared him by saying his name. Four severe still. Really just a hail threat and isolated wind threat right now. Go back over here. Get rid of all this stuff since I'm not using any of it now. Yeah, HRRR says the main threat's done. We could still see, it looks like our main threat's going to be the far southern side. So, like, near Roswell, pointing to the east. Mainly hail and isolated damaging winds, but we can't fully rule out a tornado in Roswell, pointing to the east over the next hour and a half or so. We had some pretty good derechos this year. I don't know how many we had. I think we had like three? Let's see. I don't think this list is going to be updated, but yeah, no. Oh, it is. 4 derechos? 4 derechos, apparently. April 2nd, May 16th, July 15th, and May 19th. We had the Chicago one, the Houston one. Those two were the ones I can remember the most. Then we had the one in southern Kansas. And then we had the overnight one in Nebraska. There's all your derechos. There you go. A very, very low but non-zero tornado threat media over the next hour and 40 so minutes. After 10 o'clock, everything rapidly decreases. Our main tornado threat was from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern. We still have a low tornado threat from 8 to 9, and then after 9 o'clock, it's mainly a hail and wind threat. And then after 10 o'clock, that threat completely decreases and really left with minimal activity. So how long is the tornado risk lasting? Long story short, after 10 p.m., it's going to be very low. I would be very surprised if we saw any tornadic activity after 10 p.m. Best chance for a tornado over the next hour, 40-some minutes is, like I said, with the far southern storms. So Roswell, Dexter, those general areas. But yeah, we're probably going to conclude here. Legacy's got to go, and I'm going to go as well. So hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Thank you, Legacy, for tuning in, Mod and Chat. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mods, for Mod and Chat. Thank you guys for just being here as a whole. I appreciate it. And if you can, leave a like on the way out. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Share the channel with your family, friends, social media. I'll be right back here tomorrow with more weather coverage for you from around the same general area. We're going to be talking about northeastern New Mexico, extreme western panhandle of Texas, and extreme west panhandle of Oklahoma for tomorrow. The live stream for tomorrow will most likely be a little bit later than today. We're going to aim for 6:30 tomorrow, so probably right around the same time. And then Monday's live stream will probably end up being around the same time as well. So I'll see you guys in tomorrow's live stream. Thank you so much for tuning in. I don't want to switch the scene too early here, just to show you that threat, since we have about another minute and a half. There's tomorrow's threat, like I said, generally the same area, just a tiny bit more north and a tiny bit more east. And then Monday's threat, we got a big marginal. Don't be surprised if we see a slight risk introduced generally somewhere in here on the day 2 outlook tomorrow. I would not be surprised if we have another 5% tornado risk for Monday. Monday, I don't know which day is going to end up being the biggest. You know, today obviously was pretty good. We had a couple possibles, potentially one tornado as well as a tornado warning. So today performed, it performed pretty good in my book. You know, 5% tornadoes, 5% tornado risks. It's not supposed to be an outbreak. A 5% tornado risk means few tornadoes. So yeah. I'm glad that part didn't verify where we didn't have, 2 or 3 tornadoes because, that's what you look at. With a 2% tornado risk, typically you see 1 or 2 tornadoes being a possibility. A slight risk for tornadoes, 2, 3 tornadoes possible. An enhanced risk, that's when you talk about a potential outbreak. Moderate risks, I mean, geez, those are always crazy. Yeah, even the moderate risks that, quote, bust typically still have a lot of activity. So that's going to be it. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Like I said, a bit of a flash warning in the background because I'm going to load up everything that we tracked here. And I will see you guys in tomorrow's live stream around 6 p.m. Eastern. And then a Monday's live stream will probably end up being around the same time. So, yeah. We'll probably be live for about 2 hours tomorrow, and then I don't know how long for Monday, but yeah, I appreciate you guys being here. I planned for a 2 to 3 hour live stream. We were live for 2.5 hours, so right in the middle. Again, thank you guys for modding. Pete, if you are still here, it seems like you're here. Put in the comments in the live chat who you think is going to win the 2024 championship for Cup Series NASCAR. And I will see you guys in tomorrow's live stream. Have a great rest of your night. Stay safe. Watch the weather and the tropics. Goodbye. we're down to just 3 severe warnings. Stay safe. Watch severe weather in the tropics. I'll see you guys in tomorrow's live stream around 6 p.m. Eastern. Have a great rest of your